win against the Carolina Hurricanes at MSG. I was fortunate enough to be in attendance for this one. And the Rangers were, they had the crowd behind them. They took the lead, which is important. You know, this is really what playoff hockey, this Carolina series is more what I'm used to with playoff hockey. The Pittsburgh series was very high scoring, very fun, back and forth. This is what, chances are a lot harder to come by against Carolina. And these were the two stingiest teams in terms of allowing goals during the regular season. Carolina being number one and the Rangers being number two. So you'd expect that this would be a low-scoring series, and it's certainly been that way. And, Igor Shesterkin was brilliant, spectacular, however you want to call it in this one. The one goal he did give up was really bad, quite frankly. But he made, 42 saves in this one? No, 43. 43 saves for Shesterkin. He was excellent, especially early. I thought the Rangers got off to a slow start, but he was really good. And as far as the skaters were concerned, Mika Zibanejad really was the main guy for me. And it's funny, Zibanejad has had some tough, especially on the road, against Jordan Staal. It was tough. He had his tough times against Crosby, but Zibanejad has that ability to really break out and carry a team, quite honestly. And Zibanejad, I thought did that in this game. And Zibanejad, and to a lesser extent, Kreider. That line was really good. And Gallant made some changes. So Philip Hedl moved so the kid line got broken up. Keep in mind that by the third period, the original lines came back. So the kid line, the lines that we're accustomed to. But for the first two periods, it was Hedl on the wing with Kreider and Zibanejad. I thought that line was pretty good. So I thought Hedl had a good game, and that second Ranger goal, they were on for that line. I guess on the flip side, they were part of that Carolina goal, but it really wasn't their fault. And then you had Panarin with Strome and Lafreniere on his off wing with them, and that line, didn't really do a whole lot from what I remember. And then the third line, which actually started the game, was Andrew Kopp at center, which I kind of like Andrew Kopp at center if you can make it work. And on the wings were Frank Vetrano and Capo Caco. And the fourth line stayed the same. So we'll see what they do to start game 4. I don't know. But what I can tell you is there's a good chance that it'll be switched up mid-game. Unless things are going amazingly well. Don't be surprised if that happens. And in this game, and I think part of it was because the Rangers were protecting the lead, we saw a lot less of Artemi Panarin, 15 minutes and 24 seconds overall, which has got to be one of his lowest ice times. Rangers definitely relied a lot on the top 4 defensemen, of course, as Braden Steiner only saw about 8 minutes of action, Braun, maybe 10-plus minutes. So the top 4 was very, very, prevalent in this game. Tyler Mott, who ends up scoring his first goal as a Ranger, an empty net goal. He played 13-29, and Kevin Rooney played 15-21. So the Rangers were definitely using more of the defensive-minded players, in trying to protect this lead. This was the formula, though, where the Rangers, they score a power play goal. The power play was awful last game. The Rangers score a power play goal. They score first. They take that 2-goal lead, even though it didn't last long. And Shesterkin plays well. That's pretty much the blueprint. And this Carolina series has been very close to this point. Game 1, the Rangers really let slip. And, so I'm still at the point now where it still stings that they're down 2-1. Not to say that they would have been up 2-1. Right? Maybe if they win game 1, maybe Carolina comes back and wins 2 and 3. That could have very easily happened. But, that one still hurts because I feel like this is the type of series where you take the lead and you keep it. You have to keep it. You fall behind, you're in trouble. Whereas the Pittsburgh series, whoever scored first felt like lost the game, is what it felt like. This is different. This is where scoring first is very important, and certainly having the lead go into third is important, although, it didn't work out for the Rangers in game 1. If the Rangers can win game 4, all of a sudden you're 2-2. At that point, you can kind of let game 1 go a little bit more. It'll still be kind of on the mind, but I think you get it to 2-2. At that point, all right, best of 3. So the Rangers are almost there. Carolina is undefeated at home in the playoffs, which is why game 1 stings. And they're also winless on the road in the playoffs. So a little bit all or nothing for the Hurricanes. But the Rangers, I thought, like I said, got up to a slow start in this one and a really weak call. Ryan Lindgren is called for cross-checking. I thought this was an extremely weak call. He cross-checked Seth Jarvis, but the Ranger penalty kill did a very, very good job. The Hurricanes had 3 power plays. The Rangers killed all of those off. And so Lindgren, no harm, no foul. Again, I don't know why they called that, but anyway. And the Rangers' first, 10 minutes were not very good. Carolina outshot them. I felt like the Rangers were sloppy, but luckily Mika Zibanejad begins his really, really dominant performance as former Ranger Brady Shea holds Zibanejad drawing the power play, and they score. And it's a Mika Zibanejad goal, his 4th of the playoffs from Panarin and Fox. And this is a really nice play by Panarin to kind of fake the shot, make the pass, Zibanejad with the quick shot, and he scores past Ranta. And the goals that Ranta gave up today, they weren't, he probably could have stopped them. They weren't bad goals, but, I think you got to test Ranta more if you can. And you want to go up high on him, I noticed too. You want to try to take shots that are elevated against Antti Ranta. But Mika Zibanejad makes it 1-0 Rangers, and we head to the second. And in the second, there is a play. It's the Zibanejad line on with Kreider and Hedl. And there's a play where Zibanejad's working hard in front, and he kind of lifts the stick of Tony DeAngelo, former Ranger. So DeAngelo's stick goes flying. He doesn't have a stick. And Chris Kreider takes advantage of this and rips the shot and scores. Chris Kreider gets the goal of 6 of the playoffs from Zibanejad and Trouba. So it's 2-0 Rangers. And it's funny, DeAngelo has played a big role in 2 of the Ranger goals. He made the turnover that led to the Hedl goal in Game 1. And then in this goal by Kreider, DeAngelo loses his stick, and it leads to a Kreider goal. So it's not been a good series for Tony DeAngelo. And so the Rangers take a 2-0 lead at that point. But then Igor Shesterkin lets up a very bad goal. Nino Niederreiter scores his 4th goal of the playoffs from Jordan Staal and Brendan Smith. So Brendan Smith, I believe, has a point in all 3 games of the series. I mean, who would have thought that for a Carolina team that has really struggled to score? So it was a kind of a weak backhand shot that went sort of short side on Shesterkin, and it trickled in. Just not a good goal. It happens. He was amazing other than that, but not a good goal by Igor. And I thought there was a bit of confusion on Braun was with Fox at that time. And it seemed like there was a bit of confusion as far as who should have been on the left side. I assume it should have been Braun because Braun plays on his offside anyway when he plays with Schneider. But I can understand why there'd be a little bit of confusion because Braun typically, is a right side defenseman. But Niederreiter definitely had time and space. I'll say that. But Igor should have made the stop, so it's 2-1. Then Andrei Svechnikov interferes with Adam Fox at 14:06 of the second. Rangers power play can't score. And then Alexi Lafreniere high sticks Jordan Staal with less than 30 seconds left in the period. The Rangers would kill that off as it went into the third. So the Rangers trying to protect the third period lead. They knew that they could not fuck up like they did in Game 1. Otherwise, the series over. And the Rangers did a pretty good job in the third. I mean, not nearly as good as what Carolina did in Game 2. Carolina is definitely the better team at protecting the lead, but it wasn't like they were hemmed in their zone. For reference, Carolina had 17 shots in the first, 18 shots in the second, and then all the way down to 9 in the third. So the Rangers did a much better job of keeping these to the outside. They blocked a lot of shots. It was a pretty good third period job by the Rangers in terms of protecting that lead. It was. Tyler Mott at 13:57 takes a slashing penalty. I'd have to see a replay on this. Watching in real time, it just seemed like Pesce kind of should have been able to hold on to his stick. I'm not saying it was intentional, but it's a tough call. But it's the call nonetheless, and Mott's a big-time penalty killer, but the Rangers are able to get it done and kill off that Mott penalty. And so the Hurricanes pull their goalie with about 2 to 2.5 minutes left, probably 2.5 minutes left. And it reminds me just how close the Rangers were in Game 1 to getting a stoppage or just making a couple more stops. The Hurricanes were probably about 30 to 45 seconds at most from pulling Ranta, and it just never got to that point, and that still stings. But it happens in this game. And Chris Kreider, if the Rangers lost this game, we would not – I mean, you want to talk about, Kakko in Game 1 with the empty net or open net. Kreider, with the easiest chance to seal it, misses. It either went off the post or the side of the net, just a joke by Kreider. But luckily, soon thereafter, Tyler Mott, from way further out, inside the Rangers' blue line, just clears it, and it goes in. It's Mott's first goal as a Ranger. It's his goal. It's unassisted, and it gives the Rangers a 3-1 lead and win. But then there would be some fisticuffs at the end of the game, and Max Domi shouldn't have done it, but he cross-checks Ryan Lindgren, leads to a bit of a skirmish between Lindgren and Domi. There's a shouting match between Tony DeAngelo and Gerard Gallant. Gallant was unhappy at this game. You don't usually see Gallant that pissed off about something like that. He was not happy. And so there could be some extra fireworks heading into Game 4. And really with DeAngelo, you want to get under his skin. And right now it seems like the Rangers have gotten under his skin a bit. A DeAngelo that is affected mentally is a detriment to his team. He is uber talented. If he gets his head on straight, he's great, certainly offensively, but, he's someone that can cause problems for his own team. And for Domi to do that to Lindgren, I don't think the Rangers will forget that. Gallant certainly hasn't forgotten that. And so that's an interesting storyline heading into Game 4. But a really big win for the Rangers, winning kind of holding serve at home. Game 3 is a win, and now they hope to do the same for Game 4. Game 4, the pressure's still on the Rangers. Rangers win, and we're all tied up. Rangers lose, and I know they came back from 3-1 last time, but I don't think it happens this time if you lose Game 4. So the Rangers, they need to put their best foot forward. They've shown that when the chips are down, when the odds are stacked against them, that they have risen to the challenge, and we will see what happens in Game 4. But again, thanks to Igor, Shesterkin in net, and Mika Zibanejad, the Rangers are able to win against Carolina and cutting the deficit to a 2-1 series. And we will now see what the Rangers can do as they, will stay at MSG and take on the Carolina Hurricanes in Game 4. And this will be a very pivotal game with the hopes that they win and then can head back to Carolina tied for Game 5.